Happy Friday. Happy Friday. What's going on? We in here. We back. What's going on, my people? How y'all doing? Welcome to On the Shoulders of Giants. My brother Will Justice. What's going on, my brother? You know, you inspired this show, right? You inspired this show. For weeks, you know, when I've been covering topics about Charleston White, you know, you've been in the comments speaking your piece. And I'm gonna be honest. When I first saw some of your comments, I had no idea what you was talking about. You know, I know what I'm reading, but I had no idea what you were talking about until I sent you that video the other day. Then you sent me the YouTube link back, and I was able to do a lot more research. And I was like, oh, this is what he talking about with Charleston White. Gotcha. So we're not only talking about Charleston White today. We're all going to discuss the Andrew Gillum situation. It's an unfortunate situation, but it happened. So, you know, we talk about everything, so we're going to talk about that one as well. There are a lot of things that I wish he would have done different in the past to help himself and his family in this position, especially back during the time, I think around 26 years ago, when it was doing the Tamron Hall interview, and you know it was supposedly laying everything out on the table, but everything was not laid out on the table, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Of course, you know I'm from Tallahassee. I'm here. Andrew and I was at FAMU together, you know, mingling in similar circles and stuff. So I don't know him like that. So first of all, let me just say, I don't know him like that. So I just do want to put it out. I'm not saying we friends. I ain't saying we homeboys, we buddies. We grew up together. I don't know him like that. But I am in Tallahassee, so I know about him. And I know a lot more information than other people may know due to proximity. And I will say this. I will be separating information that is confirmed and information that come from www.negro.com. Because you know how Negroes be talking. So, yeah, we're getting into it. So we learning more about background information about Charleston White and a lot more background information about Andrew Gillum as well. So, you know, interesting stuff that we're getting into. Interesting stuff, interesting information, especially this information about Charleston White. Because even starting with this first video that we're looking at, did he tell on himself? That's why my thumbnail is what it is. Like, did he tell on himself in the past? Because with Charleston White, basically there are online accusations about Charleston having inappropriate conduct with his 11-year-old cousin. And there are also videos of supposedly, and I'm gonna say all of this stuff is alleged. None of this stuff has been proven in a court of law. He hasn't been arrested for any of these things here. So all of this stuff is alleged, but some stuff don't add up. Some things don't add up, especially some of the comments that he made when being asked about some of these situations. And I think that's what raises a lot of people's antennas. That, as well as the cousin giving her account, or the alleged cousin giving her alleged account, I should say. So things we getting into, we're gonna have a little fun on this Friday. As you know, once again, there will not be a live show tomorrow, and that's why I'm going live today. But I will leave you with something to look at tomorrow. I will leave you with a video tomorrow, but there will not be a live show because I have to travel. One of my homeboys, they're having a baby, so we're going to support the homie and his wife and everything. So gonna be out with the family. But check that out. Also, 3 p.m. today, I did put a video together about the Nolan Wells story, because ain't nothing in that story adding up. So make sure you check that out at 3 p.m. today about the Nolan Wells story. So before we get deep in this, remember to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share, Tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you hit that hype button. Make sure everybody know we up in here. And we back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. So we in here, man. Charleston White. Interesting figure, right? Charleston White is an interesting figure. Charleston White has become somewhat influential. Influential enough for at least the Anthony family to reach out to him during the incident with the son and the Metcalf family. So I'm not saying he's an influence to me or any one of you, or he's a massive influence to Black America, but he's influential enough. He's influential enough, once again, for that family to reach out. He's influential enough for people to continue to invite him onto their podcast. He's influential enough for his voice to have a platform. Now, of course, you know, we've been examining the culture too. And so he is an influence to some degree within this debaucherous culture that we have right now, right? So once again, at this point, online accusations and videos in which critics argue White appears to admit to misconduct, and that's the first video that we're going to see. That's what they're getting into, where it seems like he's admitting to misconduct, but there are no police reports, there are no criminal charges, and no publicly available documented evidence supporting the allegations. Now, the cousin did say that there was some kind of restraining order, something put against him, that he couldn't be in the same proximity with her, but I haven't been able to find any of that online. I did go look. Now, once again, well, let me state this. I'm not saying I believe everything, and I'm not saying I'm denying everything, but what I am doing is bringing the information to the table and then allowing you to make your decision based off all the information that we have available. So let's get it. Let's get into this first video and let's start examining. Let me share my screen. Once again, please hit that like button, comment, hype, subscribe if you have not. You're going to like it over here. Subscribe. So, all right. All right. So let's do it.
Said, say, man, this a video of you going around say you, your 9-year-old cousin when you was 19. I said, so who give a getting ready how much you were 40 years later?
That right there is what's raising a lot of people's eyebrows. My brother DSB, what's going on? How you doing, my brother? Thank you for being here. Like that right there, I'm gonna run it back. I'm gonna start it back over. But that right there, things like responses like that. Now, whether he's trolling, rage baiting, whatever words they use, whatever he's doing that or not, we don't know. But that is some of the bait that people are using to say, all right, this dude moving funny. Something wrong with this dude. Something ain't right with Charleston White. So we run it back.
Somebody said, say, man, this a video of you going around say you, your 9-year-old cousin when you was 19. I said, so who give
Hey.
getting ready how much you were 40 years later? So what? So? I ain't never had one allegation. And I'm telling you, I ain't never had one allegation. And I ain't got one allegation.
Once again, out of his mouth, he's saying, of course, to protect myself, I'm gonna use the word allegedly. So out of his mouth, allegedly, he's saying that he took some, but he's never had one allegation. So y'all tell me, you know, let's use your critical thinking. Let's put our minds together on this, right? For him to say, well, let's run it back. Once again, let's run it back. Let's make sure we try to make sure we clearly hearing what he's saying.
40 years later, so what? So? I ain't never had one allegation. And I'm telling you, I ain't never had one allegation. And I done took I ain't got one allegation, not a one.
Ain't nobody said he done nothing. Ain't nobody said he done nothing.
About 11 or 12. And we was in Miami house. Charleston had just came home from TYC. And I was getting out the shower or whatever. And he came in there bundling me.
Now I was one of the persons thinking.
Now before my mans get deep, I believe this is House of Hypocrites, but before my man gets deep, you are hearing what Charleston White is saying out of his very own mouth. And he's also somebody who's somewhat promoted, somewhat celebrated, somewhat protected, somewhat idolized by a good portion of Black America. I've always said Charleston White was a broken clock. Like any broken clock, you're going to be right twice a day. It's inevitable. You're going to be right twice a day. But is that broken clock something that you choose to use as your timekeeper, knowing that it's broken? Now, you know the watch is malfunctioned. You know the watch cannot help you, but you still choose to use it. So what does that say about the culture? Every show I've done this week has exposed the debaucherous culture, the flaws in the culture. Even Wednesday. We all failed Wednesday. It was a massive failure on Wednesday, right? Behaviors. What Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about, the inappropriate behavior of Black Americans, right? But isn't this a part of this Black culture where, unfortunately, Black people protect those who prey on our children? Unfortunately. Why? Why is that? And it's still happening. It's happening right. If everything he's saying is true, it's happening right in real time in our face. It's happening on camera, like he's admitting. If everything he's saying is true, of course, you know I got to protect myself. So I'm saying it like that. But you read between the lines. But if everything he's saying is true, why does he have a platform? Why isn't this something that more people know about? So a little background information on Charleston White. Is supposedly a former gang member. He spent time in juvenile detention center after participating in a killing of a man during his youth. And she's the young lady in the interview that we're going to watch next. She's going to say the incident happened after he got out of this juvenile detention center. He became a youth mentor, and he said he did community work. He said he stopped doing community work because he realized people weren't supporting him. He became an online influence. Of course, you know, for a lot of his shucking and jiving and all his points and key takes. So he'll have a good take in his shuck and jive and all these things here. Because we seen it during the Metcalf Anthony trial, right? But let's let this video play a little more before we go a little further.
All these things Charleston White was saying is just satire. Ain't nobody that foolish to get on camera and expose themselves and say these particular heinous things. I couldn't believe it. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't believe it whatsoever. Until you have somebody accusing you of doing exactly the things that you said you done. And then it's a relative. This woman has no monetary gain. She's not going to become no superstar. She handled the situation at that particular age with her parents when it happened.
Yeah,
but she protected Charleston White for any real consequences when it comes to ain't no paperwork. That's what he said. Ain't no paperwork. Ain't nobody put no charges on it. But he'll speak proudly about it. And some of y'all like, well, why would she even come out and say anything? Maybe because when Charleston White got on the internet and spoke boldly and proudly about taking advantage of white girls when he was younger.
I mean, if my thing is, because Haywood I hear you, and I'm with you. But they should, if he actually, they should, especially if he's out proud saying, yeah, I did it, and ain't nothing happened, and ain't nothing you gonna do about it. I mean, I don't, we need Battle Genja here for the law aspect, but I'm not sure about the statute of limitations on that. But I'm like, what? But he just out proud because out of his mouth he's saying, yeah, I did it, and ain't nothing y'all gonna do about it, basically.
She felt some type of way because she was an actual victim as well. And maybe the white girls he was speaking about not gonna come out and speak, but she was. Let's get into this video. This is a sad case. If this is true.
Right.
Around what age were you when this all happened?
So I do say we're gonna watch these pieces, but I have this full interview. I have this full interview that we're gonna watch next.
About 11 or 12, and we was at my house. Charleston had just came home from TYC, and I was getting out the shower or whatever, and he came in there bundling me. He kept telling me that we was playing house. Everybody do it. And then,
You're 11 years old. You're 11-year-old little girl, man. What are you thinking at that time? Were you scared? So like terrified of it?
I was scared. Of course I was terrified. Because what am I supposed to think? And I'm a child,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Wow.
But
From the
it's
time I told my parent, I never ever went back over there again. Everything else was handled accordingly. Some families are the families that like to keep stuff under the table because, everybody, the way we grew up, everybody business ain't nobody business,
Something to talk about. In most families, they sweep certain things under the rug that's been done in the family to protect individuals, the victims, the parents, the cousins,
right,
whatever. So what she's saying is going to resonate with a lot of people.
I just said
men
that.
and women that been victims.
I just said that. It's been too long, too many times, too many families, too many children have been constantly preyed upon, constantly victimized because everybody wanted to protect that family member. They want to protect the family's name. Nah, that person need to be kicked to sleep. And in this situation, like, I think the thing really that's really getting people, that's really rubbing people the wrong way is Charleston White's arrogance in speaking about it. Just like, yeah, so what? What you gonna do about it? That's the picture that's being painted. And of course, the question can be asked, is he trolling? If he is trolling, well, why would you choose to troll on something like this? That will make him even more of a scumbag. Right? And we have to add that piece because, of course, there are no official allegations. Well, there are no official arrest or anything like that. But I'm just saying, if he is trolling, I don't think he's trolling on this one. But at the same time, I don't have any information to prove anything. So these are all allegations, and I'm not saying anything is true. So it's all allegations. But at the same time, all right.
Of somebody like a Charleston White, allegedly.
I had watched one of his videos here recently because I had heard about how he was on there making jokes about.
See?
When we was little, we used to have sex with our cousins. Paperwork on what happened, but just what I wanted to reveal because I didn't feel like everything was appropriate at the time. We got district clerk office paperwork here now. So
district clerk.
Thursday of November 1998, Charleston White signed a court order arrangement to now or anytime after the day above contact the victim, Shalondra Price. Khan was 11 years old of age when contact was made. Sexual or direct penetration was made. Defendant has previous convictions prior to current event. Paragraph 1 states the test was positive for defendant's semen.
And shout out to
Now, I wish we could find that document. Of course, that's one of the things that I went looking for, and I was not able to find said document that she was reading from. So we cannot neither confirm nor deny that that document exists. But we heard her reading from a document, you know, saying that Charleston was supposed to stay away from her, according to, and you know, let's play it back because let her read it again.
But just what I wanted to reveal, because I didn't feel like everything was appropriate at the time. We got district clerk office paperwork here now.
So she's saying this is district clerk office paperwork.
Yeah, the district clerk.
Thursday of November 1998, Charleston White signed a court order arrangement to now or anytime after the day above contact the victim, Shalondra Price. Khan was 11 years old of age when contact was made. Sexual or direct penetration was made. Defendant has previous convictions prior to current event. Paragraph 1 states the test was positive for defendant's semen.
And shout out to OG Murder, because I'm using his video to try to piece together the things that she said. But she's going to go into how there was semen found. They did go through a legal route to get some type of justice for her. But then she's going to speak about how they didn't want Charleston White. This is,
and see, every time I try to look for that, it keeps saying that there's no public. It says there's no public record, court document, or verified news report linking Charleston White to a 1998 sexual assault case involving a district clerk or having anything to do or anything passing through a district clerk. So once again, I'm not saying Charleston White is innocent, but what I'm saying is I can't find that information. I'm not sure where to find it, and I do want to find it. But we heard what Charleston said, though. We did hear what he said, and we'll never overlook that.
well, this is her words. They didn't want Charleston White to actually get in any type of trouble. He just came home from doing juvenile life. So before he can go through that system again, he was offered a plea deal. And this is why Charleston White speak about a lot of his records being sealed. But I don't know if a plea deal can pull up on your record. But he speaks so boldly about these particular actions.
Yeah.
This is probably the best way to update your resume in 2026. And I've tested a lot of these tools.
I wouldn't even think nobody would do something like that and come out and confess to doing it and it actually be real. That's me.
But a sick person would. A manipulative person would. A person who understands the psychology of the people that they're talking to would. You hiding in plain sight. That's one of the oldest tricks in the book. If you understand the psychology of the people who follow you, because you've crafted them in a certain way, that's why they follow you. Of course, they're going to believe anything you say, or they disbelieve anything you say, or whatever, however the message you need to be crafted, however you craft the message for you, it'll get to them the way that you intended it to get to them. But we're also talking about people who are, what they call them, the automatons, the blind followers. There it is, power and control. If I have power and control over your thought, we've been talking about the power ideas, reading the blueprint for Black Power, the power of ideologies, how they help shape and control how people walk, talk, think, behave, move, act, all these different things. People who are loyal blind followers don't ask questions. And they always believe that the person they're following is correct.
Being naive. They said somebody show you who they are, believe them.
Right.
Basically like a plea made before he was able to be sentenced. I didn't want to fully prosecute him because they was making me feel bad about it because he was my cousin, you know.
Right.
And so with me being so young, I was just like, okay, well, I don't want him to go to jail. I want this to happen.
He's done a lot of things and he's been involved in a lot of things that he doesn't seem to go to jail for.
So, I mean, we had everything from the detective's name to the signature of the district clerk. I mean, I don't
know. And this says, this is crazy. This is crazy. They got, he been tested positive for the semen, all matched up. Direct penetration, sexually direct penetration was made. Defendant has previous convictions prior to the current event. Paragraph 1 states the test was positive for defendant's semen. This is crazy. We got a detective name and phone number on her. March 16, 1999. Yeah, Charleston, you can't keep hiding from all this. You can't keep hiding from this. Was it any kind of friction in the family? Like,
and so with this video making its rounds, as well as the videos of Charleston saying, yeah, I did it and ain't nothing happened. I mean, once again, it's all allegedly, but allegedly sound like he may allegedly need his ass whooped. He said, you know, the two don't sound like they were fast kids, like a lot of young kids, 5 and up, which still don't make any sense in what he did, but adults lost how they stopped to keep. Now, you're right. No, Haywood, as a matter of fact, to your point, I was just watching a video on YouTube, and it was showing the difference in how a father was dressing his daughter. Let's say the daughter's like 3 years old. So a difference in, well, I give her 5. Let's say she's 5. The difference in how the father was dressing the daughter and how the mother was dressing the daughter. So the mother dressed the daughter as if she was a young lady. The father dressed her as if she was a 5-year-old. The adultification of the kids. But they're keeping nothing away from the children. The children are being just submerged in all the debauchery from the beginning. There is no shielding them away from the horrible aspects of the culture, the horrible aspects of the entertainment. So yeah. But it's the also like the thing with the fast kids. You got to remember, once again, let's still go back to the adults. The adults call them that because of the behaviors that the children are exhibiting. But why are these children exhibiting these behaviors at this age? It's not normal. So what's happening to and around that child for that child to be exhibiting that behavior, which is not normal behavior for a child? Like when I was coming up, we might have talked about sex, but we was all scared to have sex. I know we were, let's say from 4th grade on up, you know, that's when we really start being exposed to sex and stuff like that. But not even deeply exposed, like HBO, watching like HBO Cinemax, Showtime, Scramble Vision TV, you know, you see things like that. Wasn't even introduced to porn at that time, but even when you introduced to porn, even in those days, like coming up, like late 90s, early 2000s, we were still actually really scared to have sex. But if you have a young person who is sexually active or has an urge to have sex, that's not normal at that stage. So what's going on around that child and what's happening to that child?
And people telling you lying.
Yeah, a lot of it came from like my aunts and stuff, saying that I just wanted attention and stuff like that. Like, I really don't want to make this about anybody other than myself, you know.
Also, the fast child label is a label that is used to cover up the adult's actions as well. I just thought about that. Other times when that label is used on those, especially those young girls, because they don't use it on the young boys. They use it on the young girls. When that label is used on the young girl, sometimes it's used to cover up the actions of the predatory adult.
You know what I'm saying?
She's not the only one. He has they have like 2 more cousins, family members that's victims. She really want to bring them into it, so we're not going to say their name.
But as far as my immediate family, everybody was out on board after everything got processed and was, systemized or whatever you might want, whatever great language you might want to use for it. And I haven't had to really revisit that except when he came to Stop 6 working at the club, and then he had put that program there for the kids. And I was just thinking, damn, for a person who always doing shit,
It's okay.
you know what's going on, if I was that young, that means Charleston was 19, right? 19, 20.
I mean,
I
how
don't
you
just
know
think
what's
about it every
going
day,
on?
remember the exact ages both of us was, but I do know he had just came home and he was a whole lot older than me, People think like that is funny and it's a joke, but if you ever go on my page, anything that I'm on there doing for the jail motivational speeches or any of that, if you just listen to it, it'll tell you the whole story. You know what I mean? This ain't something I just started dealing with. This is something I've been dealing with.
Okay, take your time.
Your next breakdown could cost thousands.
Unless you have endurance, I will never pay.
I'm a good.
So when Charleston White first hit the scene and he was blowing up everywhere, of course, my old skeptical ass was skeptical. Like I am about a lot of things, but a lot of times when I have a specific feeling about a person, and I do my best to evaluate that feeling and make sure I'm not hating. But after listening to Charleston more and seeing him more, and then more information coming out over time, it's like, this dude is not right. He's off. This dude I think he's out for self and always imaginable. And that's not a good thing, because he's willing to hurt other people to satisfy whatever insatiable desires that he has. Charleston White definitely has some kind of insatiable desire, and it manifests itself in different ways. It played out in the Metcalf Anthony trial. Look at how he behaved in that. But once again, the fact that he was a part of that, unfortunately, is due to the influence that he has or how people perceive him. I perceive him as a loudmouth, broken clock. I mean, hell, if you live long enough, you bound to pick up some kind of wisdom. You bound to pick up some kind of logic. You bound to pick up some kind of talking points if you live long enough. But that don't mean you're intelligent. That don't mean you're smart. That doesn't mean you're wise. But does our culture en masse know how to distinguish between the two? Does our culture en masse know how to distinguish between somebody who just running their mouth and somebody who's actually wise? Well, they said, well, Charleston White did things in this community. Okay, Charleston White can take a ticket and get in line behind everybody else who's done and still doing things in their communities. You know, the people who realized that the community wasn't supporting them and they kept going. You know, those people. Shout out to everybody who chose to help the community because they wanted to, and they didn't do it for accolades or pats on the back or to be remembered or praised. Shout out to everybody who set out to help their community because they wanted to see their community better, not because they wanted to be famous or remembered or get a pat on the shoulder or something, right? But, you know, same with like other people in the past. Like that's why if I wanted to, I could drop a video a week of scammers and cult leaders, because people get attached to what they hear. Oh, they sound good. Hey man, you know he be speaking some good stuff. Man, that dude be dropping some gems. But does the behavior line up? And are you advancing these? Are you advancing the information, or you just continue to say what everybody else been saying? I mean, I grew up around older men, so he ain't saying nothing new to me. Some people, if you're not used to like them older men who drop that wisdom on you, then of course he sounds like he's so wise and intelligent. You ain't grow up around the old men. My pop, that's my pops, Technical Theodore, always dropping gems. My uncles, OGs, all that stuff. So, you know, you can fool some people, but you can't fool the rest of us. But let's continue, so we can go ahead and get to Andrew Gillum, because he wilding too.
Read the people, have a great discernment on people when they line, and I don't believe a particular story that be there. Seen this, I'm like, that woman in the truth. This woman is telling the truth. My conviction just let me know she's telling the truth. And Charleston White had caught whiff of this video, and he responded in a Charleston White fashion that didn't make it no better.
I'm gonna skip a little ahead to that.
What Charleston White was saying.
Somebody says, say man, this a video of you going around say you, your 9-year-old cousin when you was 19. I said, so who give a getting talking about she was 40 years later? So what? Right. So you got to be lying. Because here's the deal. I thought I was locked up in the boys' home from 14 to 21. I thought I was in the boys' home from 14 to 21. How family member when I was 19? How? I was in the boys' home.
When a person call out two numbers, they ain't sure about the age.
If I was that young, that means Charleston was 19, right? 19, 20.
See, Charleston, you ain't sliding just that fast. Because she said 19, 20.
That means Charleston was 19, right? 19, 20.
She could just have your age wrong, because when you're a child, you probably can't remember like that, especially during the trauma. See, when she said 19, 20, she didn't for sure say you was 19. See, on your video, you made it like she said you was 19. She said 19, 20. She not sure about your age, bro.
1991 to 1998, 14 to 21. How? I didn't get out of the boys' home till I was 21, till I was grown. That's all I want to know. 14 to 21. Documentation record sealed at the age of 21. That's why when you pull my record, there's no history of a murder. 14 to 21, I was locked up for murder in the boys' home. Texas Youth Commission, getting state, home, and school.
That sounds real good, but it's a lie. And OG Murder pointed this out about Charleston White actually got out when he was 20 years old, before his 21st birthday.
How much time did Charleston White do? Charleston White served 6.5 years in a Texas juvenile facility. He was sentenced to 12 years under Texas juvenile determined sentencing laws for his involvement in the murder at age 14. He served his sentence at the Giddings State School, part of the Texas Youth Commission, from 1991 until he was released just before his 21st birthday. Now, what does all this mean, y'all might ask? First of all, he keeps saying he was in jail from 91 to 98. That's 7 years. Charleston, you only did 6.5 years, right? Now, if you notice the part I had highlighted right there, It said he served his sentence at the Gillum State School, part of the Texas Youth Commission from 1991 until he was released.
Well, yeah, you are correct. You do get home visits. You do get home visits because I've done classes in juvenile facilities, and you do get home visits depending on your behavior, depending on the rules and the protocol and everything in said facility. Every facility is different. But if you want one where you get home visits, there are a lot, as a matter of fact, we do get home visits. But in this, they're saying that he got out before his 21st birthday, and they're saying he committed this. They're alleging that he committed this before his 21st birthday.
Just before his 21st birthday. You caught that? You was released before your 21st birthday. You keep on saying you was in jail from 91 to 98 like you did 7 years. Now see, what this means is you putting yourself at 21 years old. But if you read the highlighted statement, it says you was released before your 21st birthday. Meaning when you came home,
right, Octavia,
you got it. 20. Ain't that what your cousin said? You was
19, 20.
But you jumping around here doing all this like I was 21. I was 21.
Well, I was in the boys' home till I was 21 years old. How could he rape anybody at 19 when he was in the boys' home, locked away? He had been locked up 5 years already. So somebody's lying on Chicken Charlie.
Busted. Caught lying again. Now see, she really looking like she telling the truth. We all know you be lying. We all know you act like you don't know her.
I don't even know that girl. I don't know her. I ain't never seen her. I don't have no relatives with that last name. I swear to God.
But with this information, y'all gotta think. See, people don't research nothing. They just talk. No. See, Charleston, you didn't do 7 years. You did 6.5. Had you done the whole 7 years, you would have been 21 when you came home. But you only did 6.5. You got out before your 21st birthday, meaning that you were 20. And your cousin said you did what you did when you first came home. And she said you was like
19, 20.
Gotcha.
How much more vicious can with Ray? I done bragged about it on several videos. And then gave explanation. What you mean you don't believe it? Why wouldn't you believe it?
I mean, I can't believe you would get on camera and say that.
I done it. I'm on your camera saying it, so why wouldn't you believe it? I'm on 3 of your cameras saying it, so why wouldn't you believe it?
Out of his mouth. Out of his mouth. You hear what he's saying. He's emphatic about this. Let's run it back. He's emphatic about this. This is wild. This is wild.
Came home and she said you was like
19, 20.
Gotcha.
How much more vicious can with Ray? I done bragged about it on several videos and then gave explanation. What you mean you don't believe it? Why wouldn't you believe it?
I mean, I can't believe you would get on camera and say that.
I done it. I'm on your camera saying it, so why wouldn't you believe it? I'm on 3 of your cameras saying it, so why wouldn't you believe it?
You gotta tell me no more.
So if he's saying that with that much emphasis, why is he? Oh yeah, that's right. Because the community used to propping up predators. Because Charleston White say a few good things, so the community like, yeah, well, you know, he speak well, so we got to rock with him. We got to let him talk. We got to listen to Charleston White. Really? So what I am going to do, I'm going to skip ahead a bit because we seen the most important part of that interview. And so in this next video, I'm going to skip ahead in it and we're going to look at some of the latter part of it. But yeah, he does feel empowered because he's being empowered. Every time somebody invite him on the podcast, he's being empowered. Every time somebody validates him, he's being empowered, even though he's a threat to the community, which is a problem. Charleston White is saying it out of his mouth. Now, once again, to protect myself, allegations. These are all allegations, but Charleston White is saying this stuff out of his own mouth and being emphatic about it. So you tell me. You tell me where are we as a community if this is the stuff that he's saying? It's circulating around the internet. People are interviewing him, and people are seeing this and still inviting him on to interview and paying him. I believe they got to pay like at least $10,000 to have Charleston White on their podcast, and he's still on there. And this is what he's admitting to. I didn't make him say it. I don't even know Charleston. And y'all heard what he said. So I know Will, shout out to you, Will, because you've been saying this for a minute in the comments. You've been like, Charleston White, you know, he's a predator. All right, so let's check this video out real quick. And this is the I'm gonna move a little forward, but let's play the latter part of this video because we pretty much seen the crux of the interview. And then after this, we're gonna transition to Andrew Gillum. So let's check this out.
And then I have to ask myself, did all the idiotic, degenerate nonsense that Charleston White has been doing all these years, is that just so sleep? So someone can say, ah, man, he's just a troll, no worries. See, again, it's concerning with these crimes against the child, and nobody cares. It makes you wonder if people actually want to protect children. No way Charleston White should.
Clearly people are willing to turn a blind eye. Clearly. He still has opportunities to earn money being Charleston White. Clearly, the community has turned a blind eye. Their family has turned a blind eye. Everybody's turned a blind eye. This is just one example of a huge problem within our community. I've been saying it for the longest. Once again, our children ain't safe.
Not be out in front of an audience having to explain all of this, since he's done all of this talking over the years. You know,
and he's antagonizing.
He's her over and over, and you don't see any growth or response to the videos. I've done several videos calling out Charleston White for the things that he said to people online about what he'll do to them or what he's already done.
I've seen videos of Charleston White saying that he would, you know, prey on women, especially white women. So yeah.
It's really a trip how that man has grown an extremely large base.
Which is crazy.
And the things he said and how they've been ignored. It's a case study for real. Because as people get canceled based on the mainstream, we got to start asking ourselves, how do you cancel people on social media for real? At some point, conversation on my head, and we'll have to. Yeah, I don't personally believe she got any reason to lie in the way Charleston White moves, given his past. And once you start putting all that together, there's no reason to believe that he. Now, my issue becomes, how do you get people to believe it? How do you get people to respect it? Because it seems much more difficult these days to get an allegation off the ground, even if you're a family member and you're literally calling it out. It's like people will ignore you to follow him because he's the one with the attention. He's the one driving the views. He's the one with the clout. I think because it's being called everyone trying to do interviews with Charleston White, paying him bands, why not bring her in and have the conversation with Charleston White? Where's that challenge taken? Because again, I understand that he's a lot of women, threatened a lot of women.
Okay, so I just looked up Hernandez Govin. So Hernandez Govin is the man, and real world, I had no idea who Hernandez Govin was, so I had to look that up. So Hernandez Govin is the man acquitted of murder charges in the 2021 killing of rapper Young Dolph. And controversial internet personality Charleston White have a well-documented and highly contentious beef online. Hernandez Govin was found not guilty for orchestrating Young Dolph's murder in August of 2025. Following this verdict, Charleston White released highly explosive rants calling Govin a quote-unquote free kill and fiercely criticizing his involvement. White claimed to know Govin's deepest secrets, while Govin pushed back against White's threats. Despite the internet beef to have circulated in the same internet ecosystem. So you're saying, so real world, you're saying because of this is why, because of the contention they have, Hernandez put the information out about Charleston White. That's what you're saying? Said they ain't right. I met Hernandez Govin when I did an interview with a little flip back in the day in Houston. Okay.
With what he's being accused of from his own family member. So there's no reason to downplay it.
I'm not familiar with Govin.
Even though I know he got fans who are going to come and make it seem like it's something wrong with her and I shouldn't be listening to what she has to say. But nah, fam, it's a reality. He wants to control every situation online. And it really is disheartening to know that these cases don't really get the type of airtime they need. If this was Jeffrey Epstein, there would be more people interested. But because it's Charleston White and people enjoy him for entertainment, they don't want to hear this.
Well, but that's the communal problem, though. What he just said there, that's the communal problem. That's unfortunately, that's not a Charleston White problem. That's a black community problem. Why is Charleston White still someone who's able to have a platform and make a living in the community if so many people believe that what he did was wrong? If so many people even care about this, right? Now, once again, before we close this segment out, once again, I have no physical proof to say that Charleston White actually did anything. All of this is allegations. But at the same time, we do have, and we did see Charleston White out of his mouth say he did prey on women. We did hear him say that. Now, once again, there's no legal proof of anything. And like I asked the question earlier, is he trolling? And if he's trolling, oh man, that just shows you how much of a dirtbag he is. Charleston White, to me, is one of the ultimate broken clocks in our community. And broken clocks should be trashed because they don't work. He said most of the people who Charleston White has beef with wants to hear this so they can snitch on him and say what he did to them. Well, see, I mean, and I get where you're coming from with that. And so when people hear this, of course, you are right. The people who got beef with them, they gonna take stuff, they're taking it and run with it. And once again, we're dealing with an immature community. We're dealing with a irresponsible community. But to be fair, evidence still has to be presented. And if evidence isn't presented, then the court of public opinion is one thing. But then all of that, right now, once again, but that's why, if he's trolling, that's even crazy. That shows you how horrible of a person he is if he's trolling in this. Right. So that's always the dilemma with these things here is, if it's true what he did, then he need his ass whooped. But even in this, if it's not true and he's using it as a troll, he still need his ass whooped. But then still got the aspect of the young lady in that video. They were reading a document in that video. I don't know where to find that document. I don't have that document. I can't verify the document. But I heard, we all heard what the young lady said, the account. We all heard what they read from the document. And so all these different aspects are at play when it comes to this Charleston White controversy of the alleged predation on young girls within this family, or even some of the other videos where he was talking about preying on white women. That's the problem. That's the problem in this. And once again, if it's true and it's being supported by the community, yeah. You said Charleston White mother had the paperwork sealed with DNA truth. Where you get that information from, Misty? I'm not saying you wrong, but where you get that information from? Renee, how you doing? What's going on, Renee? Welcome. Because I'm trying and I'm trying to find as much information as possible for myself. I always try to be fair. Even though you already know I'm totally against predation on children and predation on people. But I always try to be fair to make sure that we get as much information out, as much truthful information out as possible. You said, and you're saying that the mother has DNA proof. You're saying like the authorities have DNA proof. And where can I find this information? Please tell me where I can find this information, because I want to read it too. I want to know. I want to dive into it. Because I want to make sure I'm giving you all as much information, as much truthful and credible information as possible. All right. So once again, as much information as I had is all put on the table. So you make your decision there from Charleston White. I've made my decision about Charleston White a long time ago. Not necessarily my cup of tea. So. All right, so Charleston White, we reject his deposit. So I'm about to shift gears now and shift over to the Andrew Gillum story. Unfortunately, oh yeah, Renee. I was waiting on you to get here, Renee. I'm always happy to have you here. Always waiting on you to get here. Law papers are online. All right. So, unfortunately, a couple days ago, I think either the day before or the day of Essence Fest, former Tallahassee mayor, former candidate running for the governor of Florida, Andrew Gillum, was pulled over in the county in Alabama. I forgot the name of the county, but it was on his way. Apparently, he was on his way to Essence Fest, and he was pulled over. And from the arrest report, they're saying that he had marijuana, a pipe, and some baggies and some methamphetamine and all these things on him. And he still went on to the Essence Fest, and they had a panel discussion on the stage, and he still did all those things there. But then the headlines hit, and all the information is out, and you know, it's the spotlight negatively is back on Andrew Gillum again, unfortunately, due to some of his actions. But one of the angles I want to take with this one is to kind of take a look back to see if things would have been done different in the past. Would we not be here now? And I'm talking about the Tamron Hall interview that he did back in 2020 after the incident that he had in a hotel in Miami, where he was the overdose. They say the overdose, he was drunk, and then, you know, they took the pictures and everything. He was in the hotel with the people and had all that. And, you know, they had the interview and they was asking them. I know we're going to look at that interview, and one of the questions that was asked was, you know, did he have a drug problem? Because at the scene then, they were saying it was some methamphetamine, and at the scene this past, it was talking about methamphetamine. So I'm just kind of wondering if he would have approached that a bit different then, or he and his team and everybody would approach that different then. Would we be here now? Said Charleston is going to double down. He has too much to lose. His comedy shows are drying up, and interviews are also drying up. He burns bridges. I'm from Texas. Folks are tired of him also. Gotcha. They may have sealed it because the young lady wasn't. That's a good point. That is a good point. So let's check out this first video with Andrew Gillum. And for one, and let me say this too before we move forward. I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate y'all commenting. I appreciate all the chiming in on the conversation and everything. And I'm not here saying I know it all. I have all the information. I have some information in front of me. And of course, I'm looking for others. Let's put our mind together, make some sense of what's happening. So Dana White or Charleston White, I'm asking people pot and polite in Texas. Mexican pole, pot and pole. Okay. So let's this first news video about Andrew Gillum.
Andrew Gillum rose to national prominence as the Democratic nominee for governor of Florida in 2018, narrowly losing to Ron DeSantis. Before that, he served as mayor of Tallahassee and was considered a rising star in the Democratic Party. On July 2nd, 2026, a routine traffic stop in Daphne is putting the national political figure back in the headlines. According to Daphne Police Chief Brian Goldsby, just before 11 p.m., an officer pulled Gillum over for allegedly driving erratically on Highway 98, clocking him driving 60 miles per hour in a 45.
He makes contact with the driver, and a backup officer approaches on the other side, and he could see a glass pipe on the console of the vehicle.
Chief Goldsby says the pipe found is commonly used to smoke illegal drugs. Gillum was removed from his vehicle while officers searched it.
So they removed him from the vehicle and conducted a vehicle search and found, I think, 2 more pipes and several marijuana cigarettes and 3 packages of what they tested turned out to be methamphetamine.
According to Chief Goldsby, the suspected methamphetamine was a personal use amount. Gillum was arrested and booked into the Daphne City Jail and later taken to the Baldwin County Jail, charged with possession of a controlled substance, a felony, as well as possession of marijuana and drug paraphernalia, both misdemeanors.
Can you just speak to the call volume that you've been getting from?
Yeah, we've received about 2 dozen.
I ain't gonna lie, Soto, that went all the way over my bald head. I ain't gonna lie to you. That went all the way over my bald head. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Records requests for this.
And that's unusual for...
Oh, yeah, it's very unusual.
Gillum's arrest is the latest in a string of legal challenges since his governor campaign. In 2020, he was found passed out in a Miami hotel room with a male escort who was suffering from a suspected drug overdose. In 2022, he was indicted on federal charges related to wire fraud and conspiracy. A 2023 trial on those charges ended in a hung jury. While it's unknown what Gillum was doing in Daphne, police say his latest arrest continues to generate widespread attention.
he was passing through that.
Look at this goodness right here. You see
That
this
one looks like to hear
caramel.
Okay. Yeah. How you doing, Nene? Yeah. But see that right there, Nene. What you just saying there. You need to get help. And see, that's why I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of mad at Andrew. Because I could be wrong, and I could be just speaking from my vantage point, but during that Tamron Hall interview, when they were talking about the presence of drugs, and she asked him, did he use drugs then? Because you're going to see I'm going to play it next, you're going to see it was stated that, hey, your friend overdosed. I think Andrew mistaken the people telling him that when he heard overdose. I believe Andrew mistaken that he think either one of the other two people who was in the room with him overdosed, not knowing that they were saying that he had overdosed, because he denied the use of drugs. He did admit that he was drinking. He did admit to his sexual preference, which didn't surprise anybody, but he did deny the use of methamphetamine or any drugs at that time. And now, 6 years later, he is pulled over and they got drugs on him, and some of the drugs are marijuana and methamphetamine. Also, Will, so in 2018, 2019, 2020 time, Andrew Gillum was the black man who was running for governor of Florida. So he barely lost the governor's race to Ron DeSantis. So he was almost the governor of Florida, put it like that. He was the former mayor of my city here, Tallahassee. He was the former mayor here, and then he transitioned to run for the governor. He lost the governor race, and then the incidents happened. So 2018, of course, he had his historic gubernatorial campaign. He was the first black male candidate to run for governor like that and almost win the way he did. Unfortunately, 2020, he was found intoxicated in a Miami Beach hotel doing an overdose investigation involving another individual, but there were two other individuals. One of the other individuals was some black guy. I can't remember who the black guy was, but the other one was a well-known white male escort who Gillum says he befriended. But the escort is the one who took the pictures and put them out. So he wasn't a friend. He was an opportunist. But I'm going to get more to that. He denied, in 2020, he denied using methamphetamine and later entered rehab, citing struggles with alcohol and depression, and later publicly came out as bisexual, as he did in this interview with Tamron Hall. Black Butterflies, how you doing? So in 2020, 2023, there was a federal campaign finance prosecution. He was acquitted on one count, but the jury deadlocked on others. The remaining charges were later dropped after the mistrial. And that was like receiving campaign funds and things like this. I do believe that the white dude was trying to extort him. Will, I do. So just last week in Daphne, Alabama, he was passing through Daphne, Alabama to get through Essence Fest, and that's when he was pulled over because the authorities said that he was driving erratically. And he had a glass pipe in the vehicle, marijuana, as we saw, and the methamphetamine that was recovered. But remember, he said that he didn't use drugs back in 2020. He said that he doesn't use meth back in 2020, even though the report said that it was a drug overdose and methamphetamine was involved. And he was charged with possession offenses and released the following day. And he went on to Essence Fest, and they did their thing. And we're gonna look at the last episode of the Native Land podcast with Bakari Sellers and Angela Rye talking about the incident and their relationship with Andrew Gillum. But yeah, Renee, I mean, so one of the rumors that have been long about Andrew Gillum was about his sexuality. According to Negro.com, you know, it was no secret that Andrew Gillum, his sexuality, well, there's no secret about his sexuality, especially around these Tallahassee parts and on Negro.com. Now, I was in my office. I was at work yesterday, and I was in my office, and I was, you know, trying to get stuff together, prepare for this podcast. And I remember the conversation that I had with a dude that I grew up with here in town, because I'm in Tallahassee, right? So I did not believe this dude's story. Let me start by saying that I did not believe this dude's story because the dude is a known liar, and you know, I just didn't believe the dude's story about what he was saying, because at that time I had no reason to think that Andrew Gillum would use drugs. I didn't care to look into it, but I had no reason to believe that Andrew Gillum had anything to do with any drugs, methamphetamines, anything. But I remember this story of this dude, and I can't remember who it was, and that's the problem. So I can't remember who it was, but I remember the story of him telling me that he was going to cop something from somebody, and when he got there, it was a group of people there, and they were all using. And according to him, Andrew was one of the people in there. Like I said, I didn't believe the guy, and I'm not saying the story is true, but I remember that story. So what that says is there have already been rumors about Andrew Gillum's alleged drug use at that time. Before this, him being pulled over in town here in Tallahassee, there were already rumors about his sexuality, and there were already rumors about his supposed drug use at the time. Nothing confirmed. Like once again, I had no reason to believe the young man. I had no reason to think that. No, in my mind, I'm like, man, get the hell out of here. Andrew Gillum ain't doing none of that. So, but it's, you know, and then, you know, had the incident in the hotel, all those other things, and then we come back to this. So let me look at some of these comments. Hey, Renee, look at here. We got to be better. Funny not how addiction is seen as a mental health issue, because hey, look here. You know when the opioid crisis, they made the opioid crisis for the white community a public health issue. Yeah. I remember the story about the hotel. The white guy took the opportunity to take those pictures and put them things out. Now, if I remember correctly, it was 3 people in that hotel room: Andrew Gillum, the white guy, and another black guy. If I remember correctly, because I remember the black guy was telling his piece of the story, and the black guy was saying that, I believe the black guy was saying he called the police, not the white guy. The black guy said that he called the police or called the service, ambulance, whoever, to come help. So I know in this Tamron Hall interview, they're going to allude to Andrew believing that they were telling him that one of his friends had an overdose, but all of the information is saying that he had the overdose. The real Di Santos says, I hate Charleston White. He's a fool, and it's not about if he really did or not, that he insinuated he did. Him and Dr. Umar. Hey, look, I'm with you. Anybody that would come out and say something like that, I'm taking your word for it. Now, of course, you know, I'm speaking the way I'm speaking to legally protect myself on my podcast, because I have no proof to prove anything. So I'm not finna go out, and so I'm protecting myself. But if you say something like that, if you are emphatic about saying something like that, yeah. Renee said the meth surprised me. Crack wouldn't have white people. Yeah. Well, BG, what's going on, my brother? Well, that's why we're gonna have to play this Tamron Hall interview, because they talked about it there, and we didn't really pay attention to it. So in my experience, those of alternative lifestyles and substances, hey, addiction is a mental health issue. Due to it causes dysfunctional and reckless behaviors. The ADA doesn't cover these people, though, due to it's classified as yep. So let's get to this. This Tamron Hall interview was 6 years ago, but it give a lot of information.
I'll be honest with you.
Did you, if you look at the picture, you see
photos of this rising political star. In the photos,
you see the white man, you see the white boy's foot. You see the white boy's foot right here. The white dude who he thought was his friend sold him out. The white dude took the pictures of him laid out. And so once again, he is, you're going to see in the conversation, he is believing that they're telling him that somebody else overdosed. No, they're telling you that you overdosed, because it wasn't the white dude, because the white dude is taking the pictures of him, and the white dude was happy to put him out. And this is somebody that he thought was his friend. And one of the things that Andrew is saying, he's I don't know if it was this part 2 or the part 1, he was saying when he got to the hotel, it was already a prepared drink. So but nobody can convince me that that white dude did not have ill intentions against Andrew Gillum. Now I would say I'm not an Andrew Gillum fan, but I'm not malicious and I'm not a hater, and I have to be fair, and I try to tell the truth as much as possible. You can't convince me that that white dude had Andrew Gillum's best interest. You can't even convince me that that white dude wasn't paid to set him up, or even to catch him in a vulnerable position. Not even set him up. The white dude wasn't paid to catch him in a vulnerable position to have all this happen. It could have been a situation of he already knew, he learned Andrew Gillum's vices and used them against him. Why not? He was so excited to put these pictures out. We could see your white foot in the picture. He was so excited to put the pictures out. He would look, nobody would have had those pictures if the white dude wouldn't have put them out. All we would have known is what we would have heard through rumors and police reports, but we had visual evidence because of the white dude. Say, yo, I wish we could understand this and refine racism one-on-one people. It destroys your credibility, but creates relevance of the white person that performs. There you go, BG. There you go. But let's continue. But listen carefully to what's being said. Now, this friend is the white guy. Now, allegedly, I read in the past, allegedly, that those two have supposedly have a friendship that goes back longer than what is said, or longer than how it's led us to be believed. They've been friends for a while, allegedly, from information that I read back in the past. And this dude is supposedly a well-known white male escort. So that's when the supposed exposure of Andrew Gillum's sexuality and all that. Man, don't nobody give a damn about who Andrew Gillum's sleeping with. Don't nobody give a damn about who Andrew Gillum's sleeping with. We were more surprised about the presence of drugs and alcohol than anything. If you go out in public in Tallahassee and say Andrew and talk anything about Andrew Gillum's sexuality, people gonna keep walking. Nobody give a damn about who Andrew Gillum's sleeping with. But his vices were used against him. Him saying that, but when he says you're a friend, but that's when I'm confused about this, because from my understanding, from what I remember, it was 2 other people in that hotel room. The white guy who took the pictures and exploited them, and the black guy who supposedly called the authorities. So which one of them two had the overdose? Because neither the white dude or the black dude admitted to being overdosed. And I don't know if there's any information to show that any of the other 2 overdosed, because all of the information points to it saying that he overdosed. So that I'm not clear on. That I'm not clear on. Yeah, they definitely exploited his vices. Yeah. So he said this in 2020. He said this then. My mind at this time is like, I hear you, but I was more focused on the alcohol at this time. And going back to one of the comments that Elizabeth made is, you know, the persona, the presentation, the reputation. Andrew Gillum is a prominent person here in Tallahassee. Hence, he was the mayor of the city. Now, even though I know everybody's human, remember, I'm still young. Well, I'm not as young at this point, but I'm still maturing and growing and learning more about the world and more about politics and all this stuff here. But now, as a 42-year-old, I get it. I get it, you know. And I understand how candidates are chosen. And I understand how candidates are pushed up and propped and all those different things. And they're not necessarily looking for the person with the best morals, the best character, the best all those things. They're not necessarily looking for that person, because his character does come into issue with this. His character is coming into question because we're back in this situation again, Mr. Andrew. You're back in this situation again, dealing with being caught with drugs in your possession, and they're saying he was driving erratically. So in this interview in 2020, he's saying his issue is alcohol, even though methamphetamine was linked to the hotel issue. Now, this is more linked to the methamphetamines and marijuana, but mostly methamphetamines. So okay. This could have been backlash for him for his performance in the governor's race. Cause he barely lost to Ron DeSantis, like barely lost to Ron DeSantis. So this could have been backlash from that. You think you are better than what you are, so we're gonna show you and use somebody who he thought was his friend against him in that incident. Now, this latest incident became blame nobody but himself. But also in this interview, one of the things that, like I said in the opening, I believe if he would have been honest about drug use then, we may not be here now. Because then in this interview, as you all heard him, he said he didn't indulge in any drugs. Now, could be a possibility that something was slipped in his drink, because in the previous interview, he said it was a prepared drink that was given to him. And so I have to take that into account, that he could have been slipped something. And then, just hypothetically, this scenario could have been slipped something in his drink, and that could have started the usage. But, if he was already using meth at this time and didn't admit to it, but he admitted to alcohol use, he admitted to his sexual preferences. And he also talked about, his use of alcohol being linked to his father's use of alcohol, but he denied the use of drugs because methamphetamine was linked to him at that time. And now in 2026, he's linked to methamphetamine again. I agree and disagree with her, because that is an aspect of this. It is an aspect of this because, for one, at this time, if you don't know about Andrew Gillum's sexuality or the rumors about it, in your mind, you think this is a married man who's married to a woman with children, and the image is this is an intact family. Things are going right. This is a healthy family with a healthy relationship. And then if this relationship with this white guy, and he's supposed to be a married man, that's a character issue. So it doesn't take us away from the point. It's another aspect of the point, because once again, it is, if we're solely focusing on the sexuality, from the public's perception, public image, because most people don't know about their family dynamics in their life and stuff. Most people in Tallahassee don't know. But those who know the rumors know the rumors. I'm not saying the rumors are true, but those who know the rumors know the rumors. But if you don't, you believe that this is a intact, healthy family. And then to hear the news that not only could he possibly be cheating, but he will be cheating with a man. Character issue because of how he's viewed and how the media and the Democratic Party and black people hold him in such high esteem. If I, Joseph Ward, go out and do some crazy shit, if I, Joseph Ward, who my level of popularity is nowhere near his, but if I go out and I get caught with something and I'm doing something and it's a character flaw, what am I expecting? What am I expecting? The public is going to do what the public does. But I gave them the ammo. And that's the thing that he has to realize in this situation and in this latest situation is you gave the people the ammo to use against you. So this is why, from my experience in field work, it's hard to navigate the populace to network due to toxic positivism, negativism. These are the ones that highly leave the door open. Hey, look. We don't really understand how stuff is really ran. BG, we don't really understand how stuff is really ran in this country. But now, I also have thought about, I wonder what was his circle of support like at that time? What was his circle of friends like at that time? Because I remember when he was running for governor, they had a great, I'm gonna use a real Southern slang here. They had a great big old concert here on FAMU campus at the Al Lawson Center. And the headliner was no other than P. Diddy. You heard me. The headliner of that concert that was on FAMU campus was the one and only Diddler, P. Diddy. So I'm wondering about his circle of friends, his circle of support, circle of people at that time. Oh, Will, you good, my brother, you good. I'm wondering about that. I for some reason I never forgot that. Because I knew that Diddy was doing his vote or die campaign thing at the time, but I never trusted Diddy. I always thought something was wrong with Diddy. And I remember that Dancing with the Devil book. So I've always side-eyed Diddy. And by that time, I hadn't heard stories, too many stories about Diddy. I hadn't heard that story that Exhibit told about him, Superhead and Diddy hanging out and all the other stuff that they were doing now. But then, you know, him being linked to Diddy during that time. And then this incident happens, then the later incident. Now, I'm not saying this latest incident has anything to do with Diddy, but I'm just wondering about his circle of people at the time in 2020 when this first incident happened. So, said down low, brother. You can hear him sweating up when she said, hey. Remember Stacy was running. Hey, yeah. It's a vice fluid intersexual demographic circle. The reality is some animosity from many groups that hate the alphabet community. Yeah, they do. Well, what the LGBTQ community does not admit in public is racism is rampant in the LGBTQ community. I've seen it myself. I've seen white LGBTQs openly be racist to black LGBTQs right in front of me. I've had many black people from the LGBTQ community complain to me about the racism in that community. So it's not far-fetched. But whoever this supposed friend was, definitely was there for his own come up and to try to get what he can out of Andrew and exploit him. Into account though, you got to understand how people viewed the situation at the time, because people were not even focusing on the drugs. They were not even focusing on the alcohol. Once again, they were focusing on the aspect of they didn't think that your sexual orientation was different. They didn't think he was a part of the community. They thought he was a happily married man to a woman who got kids and they doing their thing. Nobody thought that. So that's why his marriage and his character and all that was looked at the way it was, because people were not focusing on the drugs and alcohol. Now in 2026, people are focusing on the drugs. But he just said that he has nothing else to put on the table, and that's why I said, well, the drugs, because now here we are back to that. I have to take that into account when he's saying he got there and they gave him a prepared drink, and then next thing you know, it's 3 hours. 3 hours hadn't passed. He don't know what happened, and the authorities are there. So I have to take that into account as a piece of evidence, because that's what he stated. When I got there, they gave me a prepared drink. I drunk the drink and don't remember anything else. Yeah.
I don't identify as gay, but I do identify as bisexual. And that is something that I have never shared publicly before.
Then nobody was surprised. Trust me when I say nobody was surprised when he said that. Especially nobody here. We don't give a damn. Nobody gave a damn about Andrew Gillum's sexuality. People had already speculated long enough, but nobody really gave a damn. And I think that's one thing that needs to be noted for him is we don't care. We don't care. There is concern as a Tallahassean, as a human, as a black man, there is concern. But I'm going back to what I was saying earlier. I do think that if he would approach this differently and put everything on the table, we may not be here now. I mean, y'all are right. You're right. But nobody was like, oh my God, Andrew Gillum. No. They were more concerned about him being laid out. They were more concerned about the presence of alcohol and drugs. They were more concerned about even the white boy putting him out. That was most of the concern. Now, this last video I'm going to show you is, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but it is from the Native Land podcast, and it is Bakari Sellers and Angela Rye giving their account to what happened. This video, this is yesterday. This is fresh, brand new yesterday from the Native Land podcast, because of course everybody want to know what they talking about, what they saying on the podcast. What's the reaction to this? So say exactly, no one cares what you're doing in your bedroom, but notice how they keep waiting. Yep, hey, I want to tell everybody. Said that we're looked at as crazy for being straight. Society's changed. Oh, we definitely got to talk about Carmelo. Definitely hit me up. We got to talk about him. We definitely got to talk. You do what you want to do, that's on you, but there's no such thing as a bisexual man. Once you step over the line, you step over the line. Hey, so let's get into it.
Episode 139 of Native Land Pod, where we try to give you our breakdown of all things politics and culture. I think today is going to be a little bit different. I am your host, Bakari Sellers, and I'm joined by my co-host today, Angela Rye, and we are without our brother, Andrew Gillum, for this particular show. And instead of running down our show as we usually do, we ask that you all give us a little grace as we attempt to address certain things that families do. Many times when you have difficult days or difficult weeks, you want to be there and provide protection and cover for your family. And so I say this with a big heart, but welcome home, y'all. I think we need all of you all today. Last Thursday, In Daphne, Alabama, our brother Andrew Gillum was arrested for possession of drugs. And we actually
pay attention to Angela Rye in this. Pay attention to Angela Rye. Hey, man, look, I agree. I agree.
Spent some time with him this weekend. Thank you for everyone who came out to Essence Fest. And it was good to see him smile. Yesterday morning, like many of you all, we were made aware of the arrest, and we've been trying to provide that protection and help and understanding as we navigate this journey together as a family, and we navigate it as a collective. And I think I wanted to start here by making sure that we address this conversation with honesty, because as listeners and viewers and family members, you all deserve that. But also ask serious questions and have serious answers and have a serious conversation. I must say, I don't know where this conversation is going to go with Angela and I. We both are very, very emotional. I don't know if we're going to get into FYSA today or we'll get into a short topic. I'm not even sure how long this episode will be. But we ask for you all to pray with us, work with us, and help us get through this journey while we keep Andrew at the forefront of our hearts and minds. We hope that he utilizes this platform in the very near future to tell his story, just as he's done before. But I think it's necessary we have honest conversations about faith, about help, about questions, about addiction, and about making sure that we're there for our family members when they need us most. And so that's my introduction to the show. I wanted to start with a very big question from my sister, Angela. I know what her inclination is. We talk about this all the time. Angela's very first mode is to go into protection. And for those of you all who know and love Angela, you know that she will protect you fiercely first and ask questions second.
But I do want to talk about the hypocrisy that is going to be put on display. And the reason why I'm saying it is, if Andrew Gillum was a Republican MAGA supporter and this happened, Angela Rye would drag Andrew Gillum through the mud. If Byron Donalds, if this was Byron Donalds, Angela Rye would drag him through the mud. The only reason Angela Rye is going to have the response that she has is because of her relationship with Andrew Gillum. Let's call it what it is. It's because of her personal relationship with Andrew Gillum. That's why you're going to get the response that she's going to give, and she going to be emotional. She's going to be very emotional, but that's why you're going to get it, because of that relationship and the time that they spent and them getting to know each other and all these things here. But once again, if this was like Byron Donalds, she'd be dragging them through the mud. So that part of hypocrisy is there, because it's going to make it seem like we're just doing the black man wrong. No, the media is doing what the media always does, and the media does, and y'all do it too. Y'all do it too. The difference is it's one of your people.
And so my question to all of you all is, when you see someone going through something that you love or having pain that sometimes is masked, how can we best be there for them? And what can we do? We've seen the memes. We've seen the social media has gotten some of y'all way, way, way out of pocket. I wish this was a time when we didn't have social media, where you guys from a distance are able to caricature, trivialize, meme, and joke about the pain that people are going through.
Wow.
But here today, we want the level set. And the reason that I say, how can we best be there for somebody, is I wanted to have this conversation with this honest thought that I shared with a friend yesterday. And this doesn't necessarily just have to be about Andrew, but for the purposes of this conversation, it was that if I were to receive a phone call that something bad had happened to my brother Andrew, I would be devastated, but not necessarily surprised. And I don't want to feel like that. So how can we best provide protection? How can we provide help to family members who are going through similar situations? Angela, I'll let you share your thoughts.
Thank you, Bakari. I actually would be very surprised if something happened to Andrew. And I'm going to tell you why. There's always something that is going around online, like a meme that says to check on your strong friends.
Yeah.
And the reason why there's this meme that says to check on your strong friends is because We are the ones, the people who work on the show, the people who host the show, the people overwhelmingly who listen to the show. Those are the strong friends. You know, these are the people who will always be there, always figure out how to hold it together. And Andrew has been holding it together since he was in middle school.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm saying this because there are so many Andrews in our lives. This isn't.
Let's replace holding it together with struggling. Struggling. He needed more help, and it may be his fault that he didn't get the help that he needed, but not holding it together. He was struggling. Let's tell the truth. He was struggling.
Us, you know, pontificating on Andrew's story, it is his to tell. But I can tell you what I've observed from knowing him over 20 years. Andrew has always been the strong friend. He is always the one who has the right thing to say. He's always the most compassionate. He's always the most articulate. He's always the first to show up. He's always the first to lean in. He's always figuring out how to provide.
But you notice the characteristics that she's displaying is always the characteristics that they display about these people when things like this happen. If somebody subsequently take their life, if somebody get go have a drug overdose, if somebody get caught using drugs, all these things, they always use these characteristics, right? That was the facade. That was the purpose of the facade, so you wouldn't know what was actually going on. But inside, they are hurting, they're struggling. He wasn't holding it together. Andrew Gillum was struggling. Let's not try to dress it up and be cute about it. That doesn't mean he's a weak person, but it means he had a lot to deal with and wasn't sure how to properly deal with it. And his way of coping with it turns out to be in an unhealthy way. And that's why we are here where we are. He wasn't holding it together. He was struggling.
Is always figuring out what is in our next best interest. And I'm saying that because what I want to start with is Andrew, my strong friend, who may be going through a really challenging time that you all may perceive wrongly as weak, always has a home on Native Land Pod. It was Andrew's choice not to be on today.
Correct.
We didn't remove him. He's not suspended. He's not terminated. He's not in timeout. This is Andrew's choice. It is his home on when, and it is up to him on when he wants to return. And so I'm saying this because
now, if Andrew Gillum subsequently gets removed from this podcast, yeah, we're gonna hold her to her words. If he subsequently ain't with this podcast no more and doesn't come out and be like it was his decision or anything, we're gonna hold her to her words.
You know, one thing that I cried about honestly this morning, because you know you're always trying to figure out, you know, could I have done something different?
That's
you know,
my question.
You know, like, could I have, getting back to your question, what could we do differently for all of us when grief hits, when a loss comes that we are struggling to get past, when we've been traumatized by the federal government? You know, like, what are the ways that we can overcome? And the one thing that I kept sitting with is Essence Fest was a great experience, but I knew that something was wrong with Andrew.
Me too.
I knew.
Me too.
And I asked him, I was like, how you doing, brother? He was like, he's like, I'm good. You know how he is. But I didn't stop to interrogate it because, you know, like me, when we're in the middle of something, like trying to make sure everything is together, I'm there, you know, I'm doing that shit. Like I'm moving around and trying to make sure everything is together. And I hate that I didn't stop and be like, no, for real, how are you doing?
That's my question. Like, it's so like, you know, when you can feel like something is off.
So why didn't, if that's your man's, like you saying, if he's your man's $100,000 like that, why you ain't be like, hey man, is you good? Because if that was my man's and I noticed something, I'm like, fuck this Essence Fest, fuck this stage, fuck everything. Is you good? Because I go out there and I tell everybody to kiss my ass and kiss your ass too. Is you good? Because we don't have to do this We don't have to do this stage thing. Is you good? You should have pulled them to the side, had a real conversation about him. Is he good? Damn the Essence Fest. If that's really your man, damn the Essence Fest. Essence Fest will be all right if y'all don't do y'all segment, especially if your friend is going through something. For you to be like, I felt like something was, but everything still happened. You didn't pull him to the side. You didn't ask him. You didn't. That's your partner. You supposed to press him. Hey man, what's up? This is me you talking to. This is me you talking to. I know something wrong with you. I know you off. What's going on? Nope, we're not going on this stage. I will go, nope, we're gonna shut this whole shit down. We're gonna make sure you straight. Because basically what they're saying at this time, he hadn't told them what happened. The world doesn't know what happened at this time doing their panel on the Essence Fest.
Or something's not right, or just the rhythm is just not normally what it is.
Like Andrew was quiet on stage. When have y'all known Andrew to be quiet on a podcast?
Well, to be honest, it worked out with you and Jasmine up there, but we fought through it. We fought through it, but
see, he just exposed it, right? He's not the same person before the podcast. During the podcast, he quiet, but you can't tell. You can tell he quiet, but you ain't really caring about he quiet because you doing all the talking. Man, we'd have shut that podcast down. If PC or Pat called me and be like, hey man, whatever, we make adjustments. We won't do it. When PC or Pat called me and something ain't right, the only reason we continue with the podcast is because they say no. Let's do it anyway. Because I'd be like, fuck it, we ain't doing it. They'd be like, no, let's go ahead and do it anyway. That's the only reason we do it. Because then my homeboys for real. And guess what? We could do another podcast. There will be another Essence Fest. There will be another panel. But your mental state, your physical state, your psychological state is more important. Your emotional state is more important than this damn Essence Fest. So I'm calling cap on them.
But
I'm not doing this with you. You talk. So y'all go run back the minutes like they do in debates.
But my only thing is like, what can we do more of? And what I don't want to happen, and this is what happens to our strong friends. It happens to me as well. Is I go into a.
Isn't Angela from Texas, from the Dallas area?
Avoidance. I go into, let me not. What's the Donnell Jones song? I don't want to bore you. Like I don't want to bore.
Let Donnell sing it.
I don't want to bore people with my problems and issues. And then my anxiety just goes crazy. It just gets the best of me and it grips with me. And so, yeah, you have these worries because people, before you post things on social media, have to read that people's families and children in particular see the little jokes that you make, right? And it's just so much that goes into this echo chamber that we've seen it happen before. We've seen people become recluses before. We've seen people who we kind of toss aside. We've seen people who sometimes don't want to deal with the trauma of what's happening outside. And what I would tell, what I'm very mindful of, and I'll call a few names is, Sean Pittman reached out, Brian Benjamin reached out, Jared Lodeholt reached out, Frank Scott reached out. The list of people who reached out just showing love during this time, not being nosy.
Hey, well, Francois, I didn't ask your ass to be here. Take your ass on. I didn't ask your ass to be here.
But just showing love. Alan Williams reached out, right? Just saying I want to be there, I think is something that we need to be very cognizant of and recognize and give props to when it's there and when it's appropriate. And there's also a certain thing that I'll tell Black men in particular, like we have to create a space where we allow people to be our brothers during our moment of trauma. Like that, going into becoming a recluse or things like that usually just allows whatever cancer is eating at you, your anxiety, your trauma, it allows it to manifest and it allows it to metastasize. And sometimes there are people there who just want to be there for you. And I think that we have to do a better job of letting people in.
I agree with that, but I'm going to push back, not on the names you mentioned, but when you said,
oh, definitely, Bootleg, definitely in the building. They definitely in the building.
it's like not people just being nosy. Bitch, if you ain't reached out to me in a year, 2 years, 5 years,
Get his ass, Will.
talking about you just want to check on Andrew, what happened, get the out of here. Like, I'm sorry, I just want to like.
So yes, here it is. Here's Angela. Here it is.
And you know who you are. Like, check your texts. Check when the last time you text me was, and see if you're confused at all about why I left your ass on red. And there are several of you. And so I don't thank you. I don't appreciate you. If you are concerned about Andrew, you can talk to God. You can talk to your therapist. But do not call me thinking I would ever tell you anything. In fact.
But Angela, to be fair, that's how it goes. That's how, the same thing when you are looking for information. It goes like that. That's how it goes. It's an unfortunate situation, but of course, this is gonna bring all the people out of the woodworks. Even people faker than y'all. They're gonna bring them all out of the woodworks. Yes, this is a big story. Felon Tavius, that is the greatest. That's one of the greatest names ever. Felon Tavius. That is hilarious. I love that name. That is one of the greatest names ever. But come on, Angela. Like, let's be real, Angela. Once again, if this was Byron Donald, would you have the same smoke? If it was me, Angela, would you have the same smoke? No, because of the personal relationship that you have with Andrew, you're upset at the way people handle this. But people are handling this the same way they handle anything else. It's just this time, it's your friend. So let's be honest about that. I understand you mad. I understand you frustrated because it's happening to your homeboy, but that's just it. The root of your frustration is this is happening to your friend.
There are people among us, Bakari, and I was pissed. I had to literally, my phone was ringing off the hook. People were texting me all day, and I was just pissed because I'm like, I know, number one, you don't thrive in crisis communications. There's some of my sisters who did reach out and had solutions, but there are other folks who just, and I just was feeling for Andrew and Jay because they're telling me that people are blowing them up.
Yes.
And I'm just like, what? Tell me what the sorry, please y'all bleep this out, but please tell me what in the world you think you're doing by doing that.
The same thing you would do when you're looking for information. The same thing you would do if you're trying to cover a story. The same thing you would do if you're a gossiper. The same thing, this is not new. You just mad that it's happening to your homeboy once again. Stop being fake. Stop being fake. If this story was about me, or if this story is about somebody else that you didn't like, you would drag that mother through the mud. You would. So let's stop being fake. If we're gonna be real, let's be real across the board.
There's a mugshot floating around of our brother. You think he want to hear from your dumb ass right now? Probably not. He don't even hardly talk to us most days. You know what I mean? Like Andrew, it is not. He has not been on social media for years. So then let me go to this. You social media dumbass hoes. The stuff that you put in the comments where you saying little slick shit about Andrew, he doesn't even see it. So you are still just as invisible and just as small as your dumbass is always.
Right, but here you go with your comments. How are you any different? How are you any different? You only mad because it's your homeboy. This is how the internet works, lady. Do you not understand this is how the internet works? Nobody's saying we're happy that this is happening to Andrew. But what we are saying is the media don't stop being an asshole because your friend is in the spotlight. The media don't stop exposing because your friend is in the spotlight. The internet don't stop interneting because it's your friend. Angela, if you go out today and you get caught with something, or you get caught in some bad situation, the internet gonna internet on your ass too. That's why we do our best to stay out of trouble, because we know the internet gonna internet, because the internet don't care about you, me, or nobody else. That's why it's undefeated. You mad at the internet? You really mad at the internet? All right. Yeah. All right. You just wanted to come and yell at people.
Let me just say that's not.
Well, hold on. Let me keep going.
Because
I'm not done
because
yet.
I know, but you also, but there's a point that I want you to riff on, because Andrew may not see it, but his kids are old enough.
I'm going to get there. My point is, you're not even hurting him. You're hurting the people around him.
No, they
and
not.
You're dehumanizing him. Bakari.
Most of these comments, his children would not see. Most of this stuff, his children would not see. I'm not saying the children won't see anything, but the bulk of this stuff, his children won't see it. The bulk of it, you won't see it. The bulk of it, Andrew won't see it unless you go looking for it. The only way you're going to see all of the negative comments about Andrew Gillum is if you go look for them. It's going to be a certain amount that he's going to see. The bulk of it you won't see unless you actively go look for it. Stop it.
His point, his kids, his wife. I talked to Jay about some of the mean stuff she saw. And what you're not thinking about, and let me just correct the record on this too, since we're on this, what you're not thinking about.
Yeah, I think they have, Renee, I think they have 3 children, I believe. I know they have a set of twins and then another daughter or son. Yeah, they have 3 children though. But yes, he is embarrassing the people around himself, and she's trying to defend it. And she's trying to defend the internet from internet, but that don't stop. It's his actions that have everybody here.
Is a lot of you have made some dumb assumptions about Jay. RJ Gillum is a G. RJ Gillum came to Essence holding Andrew down, completely cool. We went to dinner, B. We went to a concert. She was like, I'm gonna deepen into my joy before I have to deal with any of this. And she held it together, and she's still holding it together. So what I would ask you to consider is how you would want somebody to treat your mom. How would you want somebody to treat your friend, your sister, your cousin, your niece, your godchild? And think.
Well, you have to remember that when somebody that you don't like get caught up in something. Hold that same frame when somebody that you don't like get caught up in something. But you know how unproductive this rant is. You know how silly this rant is for you to go off on the internet and other people who are in this for the sensationalism. Yeah, you really hurt the feelings of the people who are here just for the sensationalism. You really hurt their feelings. Oh man, they're gonna go change their lives because Angela Rice said so. You're wasting your time.
Think about Jay and those babies when you're posting this dumbass shit. And first of all, I also want to get rid of this. Like, those two choose each other every single day. So some of the allegations, some of the ideas that you've come up with about Jay, let them go, because y'all don't know what the hell you're talking about. And at some point, hopefully, Jay will be willing to address some of this stuff on her own. But I really want y'all to find a lane to occupy and stay in it. I am so irritated with some of the gossip blogs that haven't said shit about how great this show is, haven't talked at all about the way in which we constantly inform, debunk.
Never mind.
Misinformation, show up in community spaces, launched an America 250 tour to go into communities, thanks to Bakari, that are second tier markets that are generally ignored.
Hey.
Y'all don't talk about that. But the first time there's something salacious, you act like the white man's plan. And you go and you put that nonsense up. This was an arrest. It was not a conviction. But you go and demonize the black man the same way that you would shit on a major white publication for doing. And the other thing I want to say to y'all is, it's a trip that you have all this smoke and energy for Andrew some of the stuff made up, some of the posts made up.
Listen to her.
But I haven't heard y'all say anything about Nola Wills.
But listen to her.
I haven't heard y'all make any real updates about Carmelo Anthony. I haven't heard y'all say much about some of these young people who are coming up dead by suicide, and they're found hanging from trees in the South. I haven't heard y'all say much about redistricting efforts that would carve out and create space for more white people to run, but no black people to run. But y'all got all the smoke for Andrew. And I'm just blown by that. And I want to call you on that. I see the hypocrite you are. And next time you ask me to do anything, I'm going to tell you to get the out my face, because I will never forget this moment. And it's sad, but I do want to say, B.
I'm going to stop this right there because, you know, once again, that's why I always tell you, talking shit is black people's superpower. She thought she did something. She feels good after that. She feels empowered after that. She put people in their place. Sit your ass down, Angela, with all that. Sit down, man. Sit down. Ain't nobody listening to you. Nobody's listening to you. You could be mad at the people you personally know and all that stuff, whatever. But the largest people, the largest society, all these other people you call yourself going off of, they're not listening to you and they don't care. But we do have to be honest. The reason why people are jumping on it is because Andrew gave them something to jump on. Andrew gave them something to talk about. So the people who always talk about something, they gonna skip this story because of how you feel about Andrew Gillum. That's not how this works. The same way how you don't skip stories, they not gonna skip the stories. But going back to my original point, I'm not saying I'm correct, but I believe that if Andrew would have really put everything on the table in that Tamron Hall interview and admitted that either went forward with the admission that he felt that he was drugged or that he already had prior drug use, we may not be here now. We may not be here now. So I'm about to wrap this thing up. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. In the first video we were talking about not Carmelo Anthony, but I'm reading the comments. We're talking about Charleston White. There are allegations against Charleston White that he's a predator to children, but then Charleston White is on video saying that he has preyed upon children. Take that and do with that what you will. I want to see what y'all think about that in the comments, and I want to see what y'all think about this Andrew Gillum situation. So, you know, even in the comments now and after we go off and it's posted, get in the comments and tell me your thoughts. What are your thoughts about the Andrew Gillum situation? What do you thought about your thoughts about his behavior? Now I didn't mean Carmelo, I mean Charleston White. But what do you think about Angela Rye's behavior? Now yeah. That's where we at. That's where we at. We gotta think about how we conduct ourselves, our actions. If we do have issues, especially as men, adults, people, we got to seek help. We have to seek help. We have to put our ego and our pride to the side and seek help. I just don't think that Andrew Gillum would be where he is now if the proper help would have been sought years ago. So, Carmelo, I got to get some updates because I'm waiting on some actual real updates on Carmelo because I've been seeing some information, but I don't really trust some of them sources that have been putting information out about Carmelo. So I've been waiting on more credible sources to put some information out, some updates on Carmelo. So that's the only thing. That's the only reason why I haven't did my update on Carmelo. But you know I'm gonna keep y'all updated. I'm just waiting on more credible information to come about Carmelo. Now, if any of you have that, please send it to me. Email it to me. Send it to me. Send it to me through Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Send it to me. But I'm just waiting for more credible information to come out to give more updates on Carmelo. And I am gonna give y'all an update on JaVale Harris as well, because they did find the body. So I will give y'all an update on that coming soon. So once again, I appreciate y'all rocking with me today. There will be no live show tomorrow. That's why I'm going live today, but I will give you some content to view tomorrow. And we'll be back on our regular scheduled program next week, going live on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then back next Saturday. So getting in and doing what we do. I appreciate everybody for rocking with me, supporting this channel, supporting what we do coming in, and let's continue to learn. Let's continue to grow. We're not saying we're better than anybody else. We're not saying that we are incapable of mistakes, but we're going to do our best to make the best decisions to keep ourselves out of trouble and out of the white man's system. Hey, yep. Hey, well, y'all, look, y'all know, Battle Genja and everybody, y'all know it's a lot deeper than this, and there's a lot more information around it that we got to make sure that we keep studying, keep learning, and keep pushing forward. So, hey, I appreciate you, Will. I appreciate you. And I thank you for being an excellent moderator. Thank you, everybody. Y'all the greatest chat. Y'all the greatest audience in the world. And I see y'all later. See y'all next week. Y'all have a great weekend.